Hey everyone, this is Joan. In Block 7, we looked at creating some construction blocks, random construction blocks, and then putting them into an assembly, and then eventually putting them into a drawing sheet with an exploded view and a parts list. So I'm going to try to put that all together in one video, and hopefully it won't be too long. All right, let's open up Fusion, and we want to be in our project that we set up for core training. I'm going to call mine, I have one here. IED sort core training. We already have it set up. We're in Unit 1, and it is lesson 1.22, but it's also lesson 2.13 and 2.14. So I'm just going to make a new folder and call it Block 7. And then we know it's the construction block. So Block 7, enter. I'm going to double click, and I want all of mine to be, did that not save? Yeah. Double click on the one you made. I see mine changed alphabetically. So click on the one you're making. Make sure you're in it. And now I'm going to make a new folder that says construction. You don't have to make a new folder here. I like everything nice and neat in folders. Okay, construction blocks. Sorry. All right, double click and be inside here wherever you want to save. So whichever folder you're in, just make sure it's opened over here on the left in the data panel, and then exit out because you don't need it. If you need to see it again, click the Rubik's Cube on the top left, and it lets you go in and out. Okay, so let's make 3 parts, throw them together, and then put them on a drawing sheet. So top left, create sketch. We'll start with the tall block. I'm going to pick this plane right here. For me, it's XY. Click right there. I'm going to use the rectangle tool. Left click, click the origin, and then drag, but don't click. As long as you see blue highlights on the dimensions, see that at the bottom there on the width, you can change them right where they stand. So we'll call this 1.5. Hit tab on your keyboard to toggle. Tab, tab, tab. And 3.5 sounds good. Hit enter. If you happen to have clicked this part in the beginning and your dimensions came up and they're wrong, it's no problem. Hit escape on your keyboard, double click, and type in what you want it to be. If you clicked it and there are no dimensions, let's just pretend there's nothing here, use a dimension tool, click the line, and then make it 3.5, enter. Okay, I'm going to finish my sketch by clicking the top right green check mark, finish sketch, and that allows me to extrude. So top left, hit extrude, and I'll just let it go in the direction of the z-axis that it's going in, and I'll type in 1. That looks fair enough. Okay, now we'll need to save it in order to use it in an assembly. So on the top left, save. Just want to make sure you're in the right place here. And I put mine in this folder. If you're not, it defaults to the last place you saved unless you double clicked in the data panel like we just did. Find it in here, and then you can click your way through. I'm going to call this tall block, and I'm going to give it a 1 because I have a couple of these saved. Tall block 1. You don't have to give it a number. Save. All right, we could just leave that open, come up to the top right, hit new design. I hit the plus sign to get there. Create a sketch, and I'm going to choose the cylinder instead of the triangle because it is fun. So I'm going to click the bottom plane here. For me, it's XZ, ZX, Z here, X here. The bottom, because when I'll make the circle, when I extrude it, it'll come up. If I started here, it would make a circle and go back, and I'd have to rotate it later. So I'm going to click down here. It rotates for me. Click the circle tool, top left. Click the origin and just drag a little bit. Press 1, enter. If you did it on a different plane, it's no problem. I'm just going to rotate it when you bring it into your assembly. All right, finish my sketch top right by clicking the green check mark. And then I want to hit extrude top left or E on your keyboard. 3 inches and enter. And again, we're going to save this. I'm going to call it cylinder. I'm going to call mine 1. Make sure it's in the same place. It defaults to where you've been saving, so you should be good. If you're not sure, you don't trust it, you want to double check, go to your data panel, top left, the Rubik's Cube, and you'll see them populating inside your folder. So look at your folder, look where they're going. Cool beans. Close it up, give yourself some space to work. Top right, plus sign, new design. Click there, create a sketch, and we're going to come back on this original plane we were on before, XY. And I'm going to do the rectangle tool, top left, click the origin and drag diagonally to the right, but don't click. And we'll make it, I'm going to say 3.5 inches wide by tab 2 inches tall. That sounds good. Enter. Now I could finish this, extrude it, and then add a new sketch and cut out the little arc, put a little arc tool, and then cut out that archway in it. But I'm going to do it right here. It's easier. So just stay in your sketch. Don't close it. Hit the circle tool, top left, and then it should default. You'll see if you zoom in, as you come across the center line, it kind of tells you, hey, you're in the center. So you want to get that right at the bottom. Give it a little X. And then I think 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 looks good. 2.5, enter. Doesn't have to be lined up anywhere. It's going to go semi on top, semi on bottom because I chose that center point. So let's finish the sketch. Top right, green check mark. And then I want to hit the home button so I can see the isometric view. This lets you view the extrude a little bit easier. Hit E on your keyboard to bring up extrude, or this feature right here. And then you have to select what you want to extrude. That's why it's not happening by itself. I only want this part. I could have chosen the other part, or I could have chosen the whole circle. You get to choose. This is all you. So I just want this part. I'm going to deselect these. Yeah, it's behind it. And then I think 2 might be nice. Yeah, 2 looks good. Again, they're not specific instructions. The instructions in the student side just say create these shapes. So they have that little freedom. Hit enter. And we're going to save this. There you go. I'm going to call it circle block for no reason. 1. Save. Okay, so time to make a quick assembly. I'm going to open up the data panel by clicking that Rubik's Cube on the left side. I am in circle block 1. If I drag these other 2 in here, I could assemble it, and I could put it on a drawing sheet, and I could make an exploded view, and I can add balloons like our picture. However, if I started right from here with this as the main part, I won't be able to balloon it. So that's why the instructions talk about making a copy. To make it easier than the instructions on the student side, I do this. Top right, new design. You have to save it first for this to work. So I'll show you what I mean. I didn't save it. I want to bring this in, the base part. I drag, and I get an error message. So I say, okay, whatever. I was trying to do something. Let me do it. I try it again. Right click, insert to current design, error message. The error messages are great. They actually tell you what's going on. If I'm stuck with a student, I read it. It helps. So if I just save it, and I'm going to call it construction assembly 1. Yes, I can spell. Sorry, construction assembly 1. So just give it a name, save it. I'm right in the same folder. And I wait for that to update. Good. Now I can bring in, that's my main component here, and I can bring in all the little components underneath it so I can make parts list out of them later. So I'm going to bring in this guy. If it doesn't let you left click and drag, you can always right click, insert into current design. That generally works. When you first bring it in, it gives you an option to move it around in your workspace. I'm going to leave this one right where it is because I like it. Just click OK or enter. I'm going to right away, before I do anything else, find it, right click. So this is the browser. I right click, hit ground. It's up at the top there. I don't know if my video cuts it off, but that dialog menu that pops up, hit ground. And then escape on your keyboard to get out of that. That means that when you bring in other parts, this will stay here. So I can bring in 50 other parts, bring them to it, but it won't get lost in its space. All right, so let's bring in this tall block. Right click, insert into current design. It's always going to bring them in exactly where you built them. We built it on the origin, so it's sitting there. I just want to drag it away. I don't need to place it where it needs to go. I just want to drag it away. So let's do that and hit enter. And then let's bring in the cylinder. And that one I just dragged. Again, it's on the origin if you want to see what they were thinking, why it's there, because that's where you built it, right? So escape. And I'm just going to drag this one out of the way too. Hit enter. Doesn't matter where, we're going to move them now. Okay, hit the home button, get them in front of you. So now they're all separate components and they're linked in here. If you were to go back to them and make changes, height, width, depth, change the color, change the materials, it would update for you. You would have an exclamation point up here somewhere and it would update for you. So that's pretty awesome that it does that. Okay, I'm going to close the data panel. I don't need to see it anymore. And I'm going to, so if I do this correctly, assemble, joint. So I'm up on the assemble panel in the top center, and I'm clicking on the joints command, or you can hit J on your keyboard. Joint. So this will default to the last time you used it. So make sure you're in rigid. Go to motion, position, rigid. It grayed out the bottom block because that's grounded. You're not going to move this and put it on top of that. You have to move everything else to this. So you want to make a choice when you're grounding. All right, so I'm going to pick this guy. And I think I'll go here. I just got this one wrong. Yeah, I'll go here. And then I'll go here. You want to make sure you're in the same direction. That didn't work beautifully, but I have the option down here. Let jump to flip. Ha ha ha. Perfect. If that doesn't work for you, play with that flip button and then hit OK. I could have otherwise hit assemble joint. I'm in rigid. Yeah, I just undid to do it. I could also come up here and I could come on the bottom. I actually like working on the bottom ones like here and here. And then you just drag it over where you need it. So either way works fine. And you can be very specific here with where it needs to go. And we'll do that in a later lesson that we're doing. You can move it back wherever you need to go. Okay, so let's do it again. Assemble, joint. I know it's in rigid because I just used it, so I'm good. I'm going to click my cylinder. So when you pop up, you get 3 choices. I'm just using the bottom one. It's see-through, right? So it sees right through it. And then I'm going to find the center of the grounded one. So if the tall block bothers you, just hide it. See the little eyeball? Just hide it so you don't accidentally click it. It's annoying, right? Click here, got this guy, and then I'm going to move them over a little bit. I can bring back my tall block and see, rotate a little bit, go in the front. See where it is. It doesn't really matter, you know, as long as they're together anywhere. The object of this was to bring them in and hook them together. All right, my home view, and click OK. So they're all combined, they're all joined together, they're all linked together, they're all good. When I hit the save button, user save just fine. It just gives you a different version each time you're doing it. Now let's put it on a drawing sheet because we know how to do this already. So design, top left, drop down to drawing, from design. And I have full assembly, create new, from scratch, ASME, inches, and B. I chose B. This is one you might want to change. I just like the space, 17 by 11. Anything is fine as long as you scale it. Okay, it defaults to the front view. If you used a different orientation and that does not look properly, you just play with these choices until you see it the way you want to see it. Don't worry about the name, worry about how it looks. So the front view should look straight on, best front view. I'm going to click here, which would normally be the bottom left, and click OK. Now I want to project this view. So I'm going to go to the top left. We're in a drawing sheet. See it changed a little bit. Projected view. Click on the one you just started and it tells it to project. So click here, click to the right, and then drag straight up. Come down a little bit, left click. And now I want to move it anywhere. I don't need my top view for what we're doing. You could put it, but I don't need it. I'm going to hit escape on my keyboard. That makes it stay. I'm going to double click the isometric view. It's always isometric top, front, side. Since we're doing exploded, I'm skipping that top. Double click the ISO view and we'll shade that in and hit close. I hit the little box to shade it. I don't know if my video shows it, this little box. Close. So if you update your colors on the individual blocks, this will update as well. Okay, so let's make sure we save this before we get any further. And this is construction. It's an assembly file, but I might have it on a drawing sheet. So they put that word in for me. I'm going to leave it. That's great. Okay, we know from the lesson that we need to add the exploded view with the balloons here. We also need to dimension, but just the basic dimensions, just what you did for the overall, where you placed them. So let me shrink this. And we're going to come back to where we put them together. So I left everything open. You don't have to, but it was just easier. Scroll out. And now let's animate this. So design, animation. Same thing as one went for drawing, but we're going to click animation. Give it a chance to load, hit my home button, get it in front of me. Okay, get this out of the way so you can see. Sorry. Okay, so we want to, sorry about that, click transform on the top there and manual explode. I want to click on the cylinder and I want to click, let's move this marking menu over, child line and visibility, sorry. And then click the arrow in the direction you want it to go and use your triangle here, the scale, to move it out. Move it out a little bit, click OK. Hit escape on your keyboard or left click anywhere in the blank space and do that again. So transform, manual explode, and I'm going to click on the cylinder one more time. Child line and visibility, move this over. And this time I want to go up. So I'm going to use the scale again. It tends to reset when you hit it, so it might go crazy on you. Just move it up a little bit and click OK. All right, one more time. Transform, oh, let's click out of there. Transform, manual explode. This time I'm going to click the tall block. I'm going to click it to go in the up direction. Trail line visibility. Move that marking menu out of the way. And then they should be lined up. We can do this more precisely, but for the purposes of this video, that's good. Click OK. There you go. Click away. Click save. User saved. OK. That's actually all you need to do there. So let's come back to our drawing sheet. They're both still open. So I have them all in a row, all our parts. And you see when we get here, we say, hey, we want to update. So you want to click on that. Whenever you see a yellow construction with an exclamation point, yellow triangle, you want to update that. Okay, so same thing as before. We want to come up here and hit the base view. But this time when we click it, I don't want that front view. I already have that. That's there. So in the menu that pops up, yours will be all the way on the right. Change from model to storyboard. If storyboard does not appear right here, the word, that means you may not have saved that exploded view that we just did, the animation. So make sure that you have saved that, and then when you refresh this and click the triangle, it will come up right here, storyboard. So click storyboard. See if I can get it to, yeah. Oh, I have a little bit of a lag, but it'll give you the exploded view, and you can choose to have it shaded or not. Mine is lagging, but I think I can finish this up. Okay, so we're going to click the balloons on the top right above tables. We're going to click on each one. It knows which order you made them in, so you just click and it numbers them for you. If you get to this part and it does not allow you to give it a balloon, It's because you have a body back in your original and you need to convert it to a component. It's easier just to have brought them in on a new sheet like we did. So hit close and then go to tables, and we would like a parts list. I'll just drag it over here. Let's see if I can get it. No. Oh, you have to click on your which object you want the part list for in case there's more than one. You have sub-assemblies. So click that. I click that main thing, and I'll just wrap it right on top of my title block, and it will populate for me. Cylinder, tall block, circle, whatever you name them, they're in there. They defaulted to steel. It shows you everything. So it's pretty good. We can edit this more, but that's all we need for this lesson. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the puppy.